Welcome to the next episode of FeltovichFit, Core 101, the Stu McGill Big 3. If you don't want to hear me talk and you just want to start training, that's fine. Feel free to skip to the time below. I decided to make this my next workout episode in the series because of how important and foundational core stability is. Building a strong, stable core is probably the single most important thing that you can do for injury prevention and athletic performance. In the accompanying PDF to this video, I explain the anatomy and the function of the core in more detail. Here, I'm just going to stress a few key points. 1. The core involves everything that attaches to the hips. It's not just the pretty washboard abs and love handles. 2. The spine and its surrounding musculature are optimized for stability, not mobility. And that means 3. Most effective movement patterns in everyday life and in athletics involve using the arms and legs to generate force, then using the core to transfer force. So think, the limbs generate force, the core transfers force. And 4, core stability requires working the muscles of the core together. Trying to isolate them and working them individually is either ineffective or counterproductive. In other words, when it comes to the muscles of the core, core stability is a team sport. What those 4 principles mean for the average individual, and even most athletes, is that the majority of their core work should consist of working the core statically with the spine in a neutral position, using all the muscles of the core in a 360-degree environment. At this point, you're probably asking, what exercises should I be doing to exercise the core? Fortunately, Dr. Stu McGill has largely solved that mystery. He set out to find the fewest exercises that would work all the relevant stabilizing patterns of the core with the least risk of injury, and this is what he came up with. 1. Curl up. 2. Side plank. And 3. Bird dog. All of which I'll demonstrate shortly. Let's talk about programming. How many, how long, how often. You should do these exercises every day. I do each of these exercises on each side for 30 seconds every day. If you can't do a full 30 seconds, pain-free, with good form, without fatiguing, then feel free to start off with 3 sets of 10 seconds or even 3 sets of 5 seconds. The bottom line is that any amount you do is probably more than you're doing right now and probably a step in the right direction. If you're an ordinary individual, these 3 exercises are sufficient for health and injury prevention. Even if you're an athlete, these exercises should still form the foundation of your core work, even as you incorporate more advanced exercises, because advanced exercises should still follow all the same principles as the big 3. All they do is incorporate additional balance and resistance requirements. Advanced exercises will be the topic of my next episode, The Naked Core. Until then, thank you for listening. It's time to train. Welcome, folks. This might be the most important episode that I do. Today I'm going to walk you through my take on Dr. Stu McGill's Big 3 core exercises. The first one is the modified curl up. For that, what you're going to do is you're going to take either your arm, or if you don't have the mobility to get your arm behind the small of your back, you could do a towel. The idea is that you want to maintain the curvature of the lower back while you do this exercise. Then you're going to bring one ankle in towards your butt, like so, and you're just going to raise, while keeping your neck neutral, you're just going to raise your shoulder blades very slightly, 2 or 3 inches at most, just enough so you can feel that core engaged. That is the modified curl up. Personally, the exercise doesn't do a lot for me. Usually what I do is I substitute just a plank exercise. For the plank, what you're going to do is you're going to have your arms about shoulder width apart, like so. Basically a push-up position. And what you're going to do is you're just going to maintain that position, that push-up position, with your torso in line with your legs and your core engaged. To do a plank properly, pretty much all the muscles of your body should be engaged. Everything should be tense. If you have wrist issues, hand issues, injuries, and that position isn't comfortable for you, what you can do is you can come down to your elbows like so. If this is too challenging, you need a regression option. So regression, that just means make easier. The regression option for this is just to go down to your knees. But what you want to do is you want to make sure that your torso is in line with your legs. And you can go to your knees too. from the other position with your hands extended. There are endless plank variations. I'll get into some of those more in later episodes. If you want, one great option is the neuro grips. I link to these on my website. So what you're gonna do is make sure you don't put these on your mat, it'll tear your mat. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna assume that position, and I gotta get into it very slowly. Oh yeah. So you're just gonna do the same position, but what the neuro grips are gonna do is they're going to increase the proprioceptive challenge. That is, they're gonna challenge your balance, and by doing so, they're going to engage more muscles. So that is the first of the Stu McGill Big 3, the way he does it, the modified curl up, and what I do, the plank. Next is you're going to do the side plank. I'm gonna walk you through some of the side plank variations. The way he does it is he staggers the feet like so, and then you're gonna maintain your torso perpendicular to the ground. And of course I'm looking at the camera, but what you should do is you should keep your head in a nice neutral position. So again, with the feet staggered, you're just going to elevate your hips, and you're gonna maintain this position with your torso in line with your legs. That's your basic plank position. A regression option is you can go to your knee and do the same thing. That's just gonna make it a little easier. It's gonna generate a little bit less force on your core by dropping your knee to the ground like so. But if you do go to the knee, all the same principles apply. You want to make sure that torso is in line with the legs. You want to make sure your neck is in a nice neutral position. You want to make sure that your torso is perpendicular to the ground like so. So you don't want a negative demonstration. Negative demonstration means how not to do it. You don't want to be canted backwards like so. You don't want to be leaning forward like so. You want to make sure that that torso is perpendicular to the ground. So Dr. McGill, he likes to do it with the legs staggered. Personally, what I like to do is I like to stack them like so. That's gonna work, engage more muscles. So in addition to your core muscles, it's gonna engage your hip internal and external rotators like that. So I like that variation better. And in addition, what I like to do is I like to elevate the top leg, because what that's gonna do is it's gonna work in addition to your quadratus lumborum, those muscles that are involved in hips, spinal side flexion, spinal side flexion. Say that 10 times real fast. That's that motion of going like this. So that's the quadratus lumborum. In addition to working those muscles, it's going to work the abductors, so abductors of the hip, those muscles that are involved in that motion. So what I like to do is I like to do the starfish like so. All the same principles apply. If you're going to do starfish, give you a different angle. You want to make sure that that torso is in line with the legs. So negative demonstration, you're not leaning back, you're not leaning forward. That torso is in line with the legs. That foot parallel to the ground like so. Another option similar to as before, you can add in the neuro grips. With the neuro grips, I can't do the regular plank like this. I can go to a knee, have to go and get into it very slowly. So I'm going to do that option where you go to a knee like so. I find this to be a very challenging variation. So if the side plank gets a little too easy for you and you want to add in some challenge, you can do the neuro grip variation. So we have the modified curl up, we have the side plank. The last one that we're going to do is bird dog. Bird dog is a very simple exercise, but there's a lot of details involved, and details matter. What you're doing is you're starting off in a tabletop position, and what you're going to do is you're going to extend one arm and then the opposite leg. So for the purposes of this demonstration, I'll be extending my right arm and my left leg. Now, those details I talked about. Common mistake people make is they automatically try to get their arm and their leg as high as they can. don't worry about that. How high your arm and leg go are not important. What you want to make sure is that both toes are pointed to the ground. You want to make sure that the hips and the shoulders are parallel to the ground. You want to make sure that arm and that leg are straight, and you want to try to generate as much stiffness as you can. So your whole body should be stiff as a board right now. I'll give you a different angle. So tabletop position, extend one arm, extend the opposite leg, both toes pointed to the ground. Your hips and your shoulders are parallel to the ground, and you're gonna hold it like so. And that's bird dog. I do those exercises pretty much without fail every day. You should do them every day. They're really the foundation of good core health, and good core health is really foundational to all other aspects of your health and athletic performance. So thank you for joining me today. Please let me know if you have any questions in the comments area.